These games are held at the Multi-Zone, where they carry a large selection of A Song of Ice and Fire products. Be sure to check out the link in the description for a 10% off code. If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to like and subscribe. May the old gods and the new smile on you. Good gaming.
We are House Targaryen, and our words are fire and blood.
I pledge my life and honor to the Night's Watch.
The Night's Watch Army, NCUs, Aemon, Meester of Castle Black, Petter Baelish, Littlefinger, 2 units of Scorpion Builder crews, a unit of conscripts with a senior builder, a unit of Knights Watch veterans with a senior builder. Finally, another unit of Night's Watch veterans with the army commander, Othel Yarwick, and Satin Brave recruit.
The Targaryen army, NCUs, Daenerys Targaryen the Unburnt, Mirri Maz Duur, Godswife, Barristan Selmy, advisor to the Dragon Rhaegal, a unit of Dothraki Outriders, a unit of Dothraki Screamers. Finally, the commander Khal Drogo in his Blood Rider unit.
Round 1. The scenario is a feast for crows. The first objective gives Sundering. The second objective gives Vicious. Targaryens have first move and open with Sir Barristan Selmy on the letters to draw 2 cards and put a vulnerable on the commander's veteran unit. His influence was forgotten. The Night's Watch opens with Littlefinger on the bags. He uses one of his 2 tokens to replace the zone with Sword, and a Scorpion attacks Rhaegal, rolling 3 dice looking for 6s.
1 hits and Rhaegal takes 2 wounds but passes its panic test.
Mirri Maz Duur then activates and takes the swords. She heals 1 wound on the dragon and replaces the zone to put out a panic and weaken token on the conscripts. Aemon then takes the crown and zaps the Outriders, who also pass their panic test. Daenerys takes the horse, and the Outriders maneuver forward 6 inches. The commander's veteran unit now activates and has the light that brings the dawn played on them. They do a small maneuver forward with a pivot. Targaryens play swift reposition to maneuver the Outriders forward 3 inches. The Blood Riders then activate and do a double maneuver forward. The conscripts now activate and do a slight maneuver to the side, getting closer to the commander's unit. The Screamers respond by maneuvering forward and then marching towards the center of the field. The second veteran unit now activates, and the Watcher on the wall is played on them. They then maneuver forward slightly with a small pivot. The Outriders activate and maneuver into long range of Othel's unit. The first Scorpion activates and fires into the Outriders. All 3 miss, but because they are in long range of Othel, they get re-rolls and 1 hits, inflicting 2 wounds. They roll double dragons and pass the panic test. Rhaegal then activates and maneuvers forward, and then marches up and just past the objective. The round ends with the second Scorpion firing into the Outriders and landing 2 6s. The re-roll still misses, but they inflict 4 wounds. The Outriders then fail their panic test for an additional 3 wounds. End of round 1.
Round 2.
Round 2 opens with the senior builder in the conscripts unit using his stake building ability to put stakes down in front of the conscripts. Littlefinger then activates and takes the bag. He uses his second token to replace the zone with swords, and a Scorpion shoots into the Outriders. Honed Enhancement is played to add +1 dice and +1 to hit. Now hitting on 5s with re-rolls, they land 2 and do 4 wounds, killing the Outriders. Night's Watch scores 1 victory point. Mirri Maz Duur takes the swords and replaces the zone, putting a weaken and panic on Othel's veteran unit. She also heals 1 wound to Rhaegal. Aemon takes the horse and the conscripts do a slight pivot. Sir Barristan Selmy takes the letters again, draws 2 cards. His influence goes on the Blood Riders, and he puts a weakened token on the second veteran unit. With the Blood Riders in long range of Othel, The first Scorpion activates and fires into them with re-rolls. They land 2 hits and do 4 wounds. They then fail their panic test for an additional 2 wounds. The Targaryens then play their second swift reposition for a 2-inch shift backwards on the Blood Riders. The Screamers then activate, pivot, maneuver, and then march to and claim the objective. They then pivot to face the enemy. The conscripts now activate and move forward slightly towards the stakes. Rhaegal then moves backwards and claims the other objective. The veterans with the senior builder now activate and maneuver forward. The Blood Riders activate and maneuver, and then march back, far out of range of Othel's unit. The second Scorpion now activates and shoots at the Screamer's unit, but all 3 shots miss. Daenerys then takes the crown and zaps that Scorpion. It fails and takes 3 wounds. At the start of the turn, the conscripts use their supply aid ability to take 2 wounds and heal 3 wounds back to the Scorpion. Othel's unit then activates and marches forward. The Targaryens control both objectives and score 2 victory points. Round 2 ends.
Round 3.
Round 3 opens with the second senior builder using his ability to drop stakes. He puts them 2 inches behind his veteran unit in front of the Scorpions. Mirri Maz Dur takes the bag and heals 4 wounds to the Blood Riders. Aemon takes the swords, heals 1 wound to the conscripts, and then a Scorpion attacks Rhaegal. With re-rolls, 1 dice hits and deals 2 wounds. Rhaegal passes its morale test. Ser Barristan takes the horse. His influence goes on the Blood Riders, and then Rhaegal maneuvers backwards away from the objective. Littlefinger now takes the letters, puts a panic token on the Screamers, and draws 2 cards. Daenerys now takes the crown and zaps the second Scorpion who just passed the test. The conscripts now activate and take no action. Rhaegal now activates, pivots, and moves back and towards the center of the field. Othel's veterans now activate, pivot, and maneuver towards the objective. The Blood Riders activate and maneuver towards, but just out of long range of Othel's unit. The other veteran unit activates and maneuvers towards the Screamers. In response, the Screamers move back to the very edge of the corpse pile, keeping control of the objective. The first Scorpion opens fire on the Screamers, but all 3 dice miss. The Targaryens are out of activations, so the second Scorpion also shoots at the Screamers and land 1 hit, doing 2 wounds. They fail their panic test for 3 more wounds and causes them to lose control of the objective. End of round 3.
Round 4!
Round 4 opens with rapid construction being played to put a low stone wall down next to Othel's veteran unit. Littlefinger then takes the bag to remove the weekend token from the other veteran unit. Mirri Maz Dur takes the horse, and Rhaegal moves 6 inches towards the middle of the board and pivots back towards center. Aemon then takes the swords, heals 1 wound to the conscripts, and attacks the Screamers with a Scorpion. They land 1 hit and deal 2 wounds. The Screamers then fail their panic test and take an additional wound. Ser Barristan takes the letters, draws 2 cards, puts a weakened token back on the second veteran unit, and his influence attaches to the Blood Riders. The conscripts activate and destroy the stakes. The Screamers activate and maneuver back and away from the corpse pile. The second veteran unit marches up to and claims the objective, then pivots to face the Screamers. Daenerys then takes the crown and zaps the veterans on the objective. They pass their test. The first Scorpion now activates and fires at the Screamers, but all 3 dice miss. Rhaegal then activates and maneuvers and marches up between the Dothraki units. The second Scorpion now activates and fires at the Screamers, landing 1 hit and dealing 2 wounds. They pass their test, but a panic token is used and they re-roll. Fail, take 3 wounds, and die. The Night's Watch scores a victory point. The Blood Riders move towards and charge the veterans on the objective. Before their attack, they play Fire and Blood to get re-rolls back. Khal Drogo uses his Expert Duelist ability to attempt to kill the Senior Builder, but fails. The Blood Riders then attack with 7 dice with re-rolls. Only 1 misses. The veterans block all but 2. Shields of the Realms of Men is played to re-roll their misses. 1 still fails for 1 wound, but they pass their panic test. The Blood Riders then roll their 1 save from Counterstrike and block it. Othel's veteran unit then marches towards and claims the other objective. The Night's Watch scores 2 points for the objectives. End of round 4.
Round 5.
Round 5 opens with a rapid construction to place a low stone wall on the flank of the Senior Builder's veteran unit. At the start of the first turn, Littlefinger then uses his 1s per game to gain control of the bag. Sir Barristan activates and takes the swords. His influence is attached to the Blood Riders. Drogo uses his Expert Duelist ability to attempt to assassinate the Senior Builder, but it misses, and the swords are used to attack the veterans with the Blood Riders. The Blood Riders then hit with 7 dice on 4s due to disrupt. 4 dice hit. The veterans manage to block 2 and take 2 wounds. They fail their panic test, but play the Fire that burns against the cold to re-roll a dice, and on the re-roll they pass. The Blood Riders then take 3 hits from Counterstrike and take 1 wound. Littlefinger then activates and takes the letters. He puts a panic token on the Blood Riders and draws 2 cards. The Blood Riders then perform Warcry. The test is successful, and they put a vulnerable token on the veterans. Mirri Maz Dur then takes the horse to maneuver Rhaegal closer to the veterans. Aemon then takes the bag. He heals 3 wounds and removes the vulnerable token from the veterans. The Blood Riders then activate, and again Drogo performs an assassination attempt on the Senior Builder, but again it fails. They then attack with 7 dice, 4 hit. The veterans block 2 hits and take 2 wounds. The panic test is failed for 3 wounds, for a total of 5 wounds. The Blood Riders take 3 hits from Counterstrike but block them all. The veteran unit activates and plays Shields of the Realms of Men on themselves. They then attack the Blood Riders and land 4 hits. Sir Barristan's card is discarded from the Blood Riders to cancel their precision. The veterans play the Light that brings the dawn in order to re-roll their misses, but both dice still miss. The Blood Riders block 2 hits and take 2 wounds. They then pass their panic test, but the panic token is spent in order to force a reroll, which they fail for 3 wounds. Rhaegal then activates and maneuvers into the flank of the veterans before successfully charging them. His attack lands and he deals 4 wounds. They fail their panic test for an additional wound. The conscripts activate and maneuver towards the center of the field. Daenerys activates and takes the crown. She zaps Othel's veterans. They fail the test, causing them to lose their card and the objective and take 1 wound. They then activate and reclaim the objective token. Targaryens are out of activations. The first Scorpion targets and fires at Rhaegal, hitting him for 2 wounds. The veterans have to take a panic test, and they pass. Rhaegal, however, fails his panic test for an additional 2 wounds. The second Scorpion fires, and also hits Rhaegal, dealing 2 wounds and killing the dragon. The Night's Watch score 1 victory point. The veterans have to take another panic test, and pass it again. Round 5 ends with the Night's Watch scoring 1 point for the objective. Round 6. Round 6 opens with Aemon taking the bags and healing the Senior Builder veterans 6 wounds and removing the vulnerable token. The Blood Riders then perform their war cry successfully and put a vulnerable token back on the veterans. They activate and play Adravat on the veterans. This gives them critical blow and a bonus victory point if they are killed. Drogo uses his expert duelist ability to deal an auto wound. They then attack with 7 dice and hit with 4, including 2 critical blows for a total of 6 hits. The veterans block 2. The vulnerable token is spent, and another wound gets through for 5 wounds. They then failed their panic test for 3 wounds, and the veterans are killed. Targaryens score 2 victory points. The Blood Riders take 3 hits from Counter-Strike and fail 1, taking a wound. Night's Watch plays. Now his watch is ended, making the Blood Riders vulnerable. The Blood Riders maneuver onto and claim the objective. Placing a corpse pile was missed. Littlefinger takes the swords and fires a scorpion at the Blood Riders, but all 3 dice miss. Miri Maz-Dur takes the letters 2, draw 2 cards, and put a vulnerable token on the conscripts. The first scorpion fires at the Blood Riders, dealing 2 wounds. They pass their panic test. Sir Barristan takes the horse and attaches his influence to the Blood Riders, but does not use the zone. The second scorpion activates, and the second honed enhancement is played on it, giving them +1 to hit and +1 attack dice. With 4 dice hitting on 5s, they land 2 hits, dealing 4 wounds to the Blood Riders, leaving them at 1 wound. However, they pass their panic test and survive. Daenerys then takes the crown and tries to zap Othel's unit. However, they pass, and it's agreed that spending the token is pointless, as they have not activated and could reclaim the objective anyways. Round 6 and the game end with both teams scoring 1 point for the objectives. The Night's Watch edges out a narrow 7-6 victory over the Targaryen forces.
If you enjoy this content, please take a moment to like and subscribe. May the old gods and the new smile on you. Good gaming.